Hi everyone, Petrik here. Welcome to SFF Spotlight episode number 102. It seems like lately, if you've been paying attention to my YouTube channel, then you might have realized that I have time to record and edit only one video per week lately, and I hope I can change this moving forward. I hope I can go back to normal. Go back to the standard of posting 2 videos per week, and let's see whether that's possible or not. But again, I can only say thank you so much for your patience in waiting for every content and every reviews that I post on my YouTube channel. But anyway, again, this is the standard recurring SFF Spotlight, a series of videos where I usually talk about new book news, new cover reveal, new Kickstarter campaign, also new special edition in the adult science fiction and fantasy genre. And today we have about, I think, 10 or 12 topics to talk about. And the first one, of course, this will be about the super big news that well, it's pretty much what everyone has been talking about. It is the Cosmere adaptations by Apple TV. And this news, if you don't know, well, it came as a surprise, and also it pretty much goes viral because of how good the track record for Apple TV is. Every science fiction movies or TV show that I have watched from Apple TV, all of them are stellar. For All Mankind, and then Murderbot, Silo, and pretty much everything that I have watched published by Apple TV, even the historical fiction such as Pachinko, all of them are so well adapted from the novels, and I cannot wait to see what they will do with the Cosmere adaptation. So from the news, if you don't know about it, the first one that will be adapted, it will be Mistborn trilogy, and of course this means a lot to me. Mistborn trilogy is pretty much the series that sparked my love for reading epic fantasy novels in the first place. So yeah, obviously I will be having a lot of high expectations about this one, and I think this one will be adapted in a live action, and I still don't know how I feel about this. I do think that Mistborn or even the Stormlight archive will be so much better adapted in animation format like Arcane. I actually posted about this in one of Brandon Sanderson's posts, and it received more than 2,000 likes and probably close to 3,000 likes by now. So it seems like many people actually agree with me about the adaptation being done in the style of Arcane, especially because Arcane is actually inspired by Brandon Sanderson Cosmere as well. The adaptation, okay? Not the League of Legends, but the animation. So yeah, I think it will go full circle if somehow Mistborn is being adapted in Arcane style format. But maybe that's just me. Let me know what you think about it. But what makes this adaptation even more special is that an unprecedented thing mentioned in the article has happened here. Brandon Sanderson will have a lot of control and also have a lot of say over what goes on into the production and what goes on into the movies and TV shows or not. This is something that George R.R. Martin did not even have in his adaptation of A Song of Ice and Fire. I think not on the level that Brandon Sanderson has on the Apple TV adaptation for the Cosmere anyway. But yeah, Apple TV is determined to adapt the entire Cosmere. And yeah, I think this time it is happening. The previous studio, I was never fully confident that it would happen, but Apple TV, they have really good track record, and yeah, I look forward to seeing this come to fruition. But it might be a while before this actually happens, so yeah, let's just wait. There are a lot of adaptations, exciting adaptations happening here. I mean, The Will of the Many, and then also Dungeon Crawler Carl. So yeah, it's incredible news all around. And also Brandon Sanderson, there's just no stopping this guy, really. He's amazing. I've been to his house once during Dragonstale Con in 2024, and I think it's just amazing to see how far he has come from his, well, solemn debut in Elantris, yeah. And yeah, his YouTube channel as well, because currently he has about, I think, 800,000 subscribers, so close to 1 million. And yeah, it's just impressive all around. And if this adaptation happens and it's being done properly, well, I think it's about to become the most popular authors probably in our lifetime. We will see how it turns out. Again, it depends on the adaptation, because adaptation actually change how people who usually don't read books view the medium. And yeah, let's see how it goes. It will be a few years from now. I'm confident about that. But speaking of YouTube channel, before I move on to talk about more news, John Gwynne, the author behind The Faithful and the Fallen, of Blood and Bone Trilogy, and also the Bloodthorn Saga, now has a YouTube channel. And well, of course, I'm subscribed to him already. I highly recommend you to be subscribed to him as well. John Gwynne is a great guy. He's a very family man, and well, he's one of those authors that I've been reading The Faithful and the Fallen, I believe, since the year 2017. So it's almost 10 years. Wow, John, it's almost 10 years since I actually read Malice, Valor, Ruin, and Breath for the first time. Time really flies. This year actually will mark the 10th year anniversary of my reviewing career. I never expected I would be able to go to 10 years, honestly. But yeah, anyway, subscribe to John Gwynne. He's a great author and of course a great storyteller, especially if you love action scenes and great characterizations in your books. But now let's talk about cover reveals. For the first one, this is something that I actually spotlighted in my previous episode of SFF Spotlight, but I'm going to spotlight this one more time because this is a different cover art. So this is about A Parade of Horribles by Matt Dinniman, the 8th book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, but this time this is for the indie cover edition with the cover art illustrated by Luciano Fleitas. So if you are one of the lucky readers who actually managed to purchase the indie cover edition for Dungeon Crawler Carl series, well, you can still order this one through Grim Oak Press page, or maybe the signed page website, which is owned by Grim Oak Press as well. I will leave the link in the details in the description down below. But yeah, this is a beautiful cover art. I actually think this cover art matches the tone of Dungeon Crawler Carl better than the Trade Pop edition. This doesn't mean that the Trade Pop edition is not good though. They somehow really grow on me, even though initially I really disliked them compared to the indie cover edition, but somehow the overall design and also the bold tone and also style in the cover art really match the bonkers and chaotic situation of Dungeon Crawler Carl as well. I have such a difficult time pronouncing Dungeon Crawler Carl, not gonna lie. I think it's much easier for me to just say this as Dungeon Carl series. But moving on to the next cover reveal, this is about An Empire of Dirt and Lies by Joshua Walker. So yeah, this is again a cover art done by Jeff Brown. As you can see here, the cover art is reminiscent of To Green Angel Tower Storm plus Never Die by Rob J. Hayes. And I think this is a beautiful cover art. I love the color scheme of the background matches with the tower and also the characters figures here. And if you see the flags here, the flags being waved, I think somehow this just reminded me of the Wheel of Time. I have no idea why, but looking at this, it just reminded me of the Wheel of Time. But it is a great cover art, and I heard great things about this series. Supposedly, this one is supposed to be one of those underrated indie fantasy series. So yeah, check it out. But the next cover reveal I'm going to spot that this is for The Mark of the Warrior by Shannon Lee and also Fonda Lee. So this will conclude the duology. The first book is Breath of the Dragon. I haven't read this one, but I believe this is about Bruce Lee. And of course, I will be reading this duology because, again, Fonda Lee is involved. I will be reading it for sure. The cover art is beautiful. Once again, it is illustrated by Crucier Weasley or Kyuan Ran. And yeah, I love the cover art of this duology. And again, the first book, Breath of the Dragon, I heard many great things about it as well. It is a YA fantasy duology. I believe it is a YA historical fantasy duology. But again, as I mentioned in the beginning, I will be reading anything written by Fonda Lee. I have read The Last Contract of Hisako. I absolutely love that upcoming sci-fi book as well, as expected, because I'm a huge fan of the Green Boat Saga by Fonda Lee as well. And moving on to the last cover reveal, I want to spot that this is about The 8 Tastes of Treachery by Ryan Rose. So this is the sequel to the 7 Recipes for Revolution. And again, the cover art is done by Kirby Rosanes, and this is being published by Daphne Press in the UK. And I sadly haven't got a chance to read the 7 Recipes for Revolution yet, even though I have wanted to read this for a long time. Pretty much ever since I saw the cover art for the 7 Recipes for Revolution. Actually, even before that, it's basically, after I heard the premise, it has been pitched as Attack on Titan meets the bear, but based on the premise, I actually think of this more like Toriko manga meets the bear. But anyway, it sounds really good, and I hope I can get around to this one sooner than expected. I think this one is actually a duology. If that is true, well, this will be the final book of the duology. And now, let's move on to talk about special editions. After that, we will cover this SFF Spotlight episode by talking about the Kickstarter campaign. But speaking of special editions, the first one I want to spotlight is about Mockingjay, the illustrated edition by Suzanne Collins, illustrated by Nico Delort. So this will conclude the Hunger Games trilogy, the illustrated edition of the Hunger Games trilogy. And I think Nico Delort did such an outstanding job on this edition, especially considering how many artwork he has actually provided on each book in the Hunger Games Illustrated Edition trilogy here. And admittedly, I haven't ever finished reading the Hunger Games trilogy, so I think I will be doing that using this illustrated edition series. This edition of Mockingjay will be out on the 6th of October 2026, so yeah, within this year. And speaking of Nico Delort, the next one I want to spotlight is about Scholar's Codex, again published by Toons and Fairweathers. And I know that Nico Delort, just like me, is a huge fan of the From Software games, all the Soulsborne video games. And now, in this publication, in this high-end publication, Nico Delort will be providing the cover art and also the interior illustrations. Now, if you don't know about Toon and Fairweather, they have published a lot of absolutely beautiful and breathtaking high-end special editions for the From Software games content. This is done together with Vati Vidya, Smoketown, and also many other artists as well. But yeah, I think this one will be one of the few that I actually get though, because I cannot afford all of them. There are a lot of special editions being published by Toons and Fairweather, but this one, this will be one of those that I will definitely get, because I love Nico Delort's illustration, and I'm curious to see what the scholars think of the codex of the text from the From Software games lore, and also the many storyline in the Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, and also Elden Ring, and also Sekiro. But moving on to the next three special editions I want to spotlight, these are all published by The Broken Binding. But for the next one, this is not technically a special edition, but this is about The Fall by Ryan Cahill, the prequel novella to the entire The Bound and the Broken series. And of course, just like of Blood and Fire, this is getting the Broken Binding publishing treatment. So this means after Of Blood and Fire being released this month, and The Fall, the prequel novella, will be out in June 2026, so just about 4 months. 23rd of June 2026, about 4 months from the publication of Blood and Fire. And again, the cover art is done by Tom Roberts, and as you can expect though, there will be matching special editions for the previous editions for Blood and Fire. I don't think that needs to be said. It will happen. And next we have Tai-Pan by James Clavell. Again, just like Shogun, I'm matching the cover art, also the end paper design here, including the board art, with the edition of Shogun, the Broken Binding edition of Shogun. So the cover art is being done by Jungshan Inc. The end paper is done by Peng Lu, and the board art and also the typography is done by Rachel St. Clair. I think as you can see from the image here, if you match Shogun and also Tai-Pan, they really match each other. And I hope the sales for this one goes well. If it goes well, I think the Broken Binding will be doing another book in the Asian saga again. So yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed on that. And moving on to the next special edition I want to spotlight, this is about Hyperion Cantos by Dan Simmons. So this is the entire edition being illustrated by Raymond Swanland. I still can't believe that I actually got to work with Raymond Swanland for more than a year on the special edition of the Hyperion Cantos series. And yeah, this is happening. The entire set with the OG cover art as well is now available to purchase. So if you are looking to get yourself a copy of Hyperion Cantos, this is your chance. There will be 2 new end paper artwork per book, and then also 1 board art, 1 new edges, and also about 8 or 9 interior illustrations per book, black and white interior illustrations per book. In total, I believe Raymond Swanland actually crafted more than 50 illustrations for the entire Hyperion Cantos series in about more than a year, really, and I think that is absolutely impressive. And speaking of Hyperion Cantos, if you are looking for a more higher end edition, if it's still available, Well, Endymion, the third book in the Hyperion Cantos series, well, the Curious King edition, illustrated by Thomas Elliott, is available to purchase now. Again, if it hasn't sold out, because this edition sold out very quickly. I actually have the privilege and honor of owning Hyperion and the Fall of Hyperion Curious King edition, and let me tell you, they are just out of this world in terms of quality. They are quite likely the most beautiful and the most high-end special edition that I own in my entire library of more than 1,000 books. So yeah, well done to Curious King and Anthony. Really, I cannot praise them and their production highly enough. And finally, the last special edition and also the only Kickstarter campaign I'm going to spotlight today. This is about A Blood of Kings by Bryce O'Connor and also Luxmilenko, the Raid Mark edition. Now, ever since the publication of A Mark of Kings, I think this is actually their first ever special edition published through Kickstarter campaign. Raid Mark has come a long way, and it's quite surreal to actually see them going back, well, to the first edition, to the sequel of the first book and the first edition that have ever published, the first special edition that had ever published through Kickstarter campaign. And again, this matches the design of the cover art and also the interior artwork of A Mark of Kings. And I actually own a copy of that book as well. I think it's beautiful, especially for the first production by Raid Mark, and I cannot wait to see what they will come up with for the sequel to A Mark of Kings. And the Kickstarter campaign is fully funded now. If you are interested in this one, make sure to check out the link in the description down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. That's all the 12 or 13 topics I wanted to cover in today's episode of SFF Spotlight. And again, I can only say thank you so much for pretty much everything, as always. And if you have any thoughts or any comments about any news that I spotlighted, well, make sure to do that in the comment section down below. That's pretty much it from me today. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support. Bye-bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.